Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Today we'll be discussing Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 6, text 17. Yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapnava bodhasya yogo bhavati dukkhaha. So it's very similar to the previous verse where Krishna said, you should not have too much eating nor too less eating. You should not have too much sleep nor too less sleep. So it's very similar to that, where he is saying, in the previous verse, he specifically talks about two things, the eating and sleeping, how one should strike the perfect balance. And this verse talks about the regulation or regulating the overindulgence in recreation also, in our job also, in our work also, along with eating and sleeping. How to be regulated. Because irregulation causes dukkha. Yogo bhavati dukkhaha. In order to remove that dukkha, one needs to be regulated. So that is yukta. Yukta means regulated. So the formula to remove our material dukkha is to become regulated. Because irregulation causes dukkha. This is the formula. Anything you do irregulatedly, it causes distress. Either eating or sleeping or working or even recreation, isn't it? If you over recreate, over enjoy, it causes dukkha. Either you become broken down when you have to go to work, or you spend too much money, or you become so much addicted to enjoyment that you don't have the determination to work, or you overeat. We know how all the problems. You oversleep also, there is so much of problem. And you overwork. This is a big problem nowadays. We are forced to work, irregulated work, night shifts, late nights, or stretching without the work life balance at the cost of the relations, peace, stress. This is all irregulated. Our distress is because of irregulation. So, that dukkha, in order to remove that dukkha, you have to be regulated. That's what Krishna says. Yuktahara viharasya. Our ahara and vihara has to be yukta, regulated. Yukta cheshtasya karmasu. Our karmasu, our activities, our endeavors has to be regulated. Our work has to be regulated. Yukta swapna avabodhasya. Yukta swapna means regulated dreaming or regulated sleeping and wakefulness. Avabodhasya. So in this way, if one practices yoga, or a yogi should practice this regulation, such a person, for him, bhavati dukkhaha, all material pains are diminished. So Prabhupada translates this as, he who is temperate in his habits of eating, sleeping, working and recreation can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. So one devotee, I knew him, he was writing a blog about his diabetes. So he said, it was very philosophical and it was touching. He said his quota of carbs for this life is over. And he is educating the devotees how to watch out for rich food they are eating. Even if that is prasadam, they have to watch out because we don't physically work hard anymore. So his point is, or generally the point in scriptures is that irregulation puts you in dukkha or even mental distress. Like I was saying, irregulation in recreation. So we have heard several cases where the students, these youngsters, they get into some game, some crazy games. Every now and then some crazy games keep coming, some blue whale challenge or something like that. And as a challenge, they have to jump from somewhere, something like that, some crazy thing. And a lot of youngsters lost their lives. And irregulation also causes them to get addicted to these weapons. You know, they fancy the guns and so on and so forth. They have this titillation to try, and when they get hurt, they cannot tolerate, and they want to hurt others by misusing these guns. Or binge watching. Now it's become quite famous. Binge watching means if a new series comes, you just sit and keep on watching until that until that is end. So there was this news that this one youngster was watching, a middle-aged man, not youngster, and he was watching one series, some Walking Dead or something, and he thought he became a possessed ghost, and he was attacking his roommate, and the roommate took a whatever was available, guitar and so on and so forth, and bet him, and he died. So this is the dukkha, the result of irregulation. This maya comes in different forms and shapes. Oh, now you are earning so much, why don't you buy this expensive television? I don't know what is the latest one, 4K, 10K, whatever it is. Oh, put it up on the wall, huge, make a theater. We were visiting somebody's house, and they had this huge room where the friends and family can sit in nice sofas and watch a big screen. So you get addicted to this kind of things. Too much television watching, too much recreation, too much games, too much enjoyment. Too much enjoyment is also a problem. See, this material body, you cannot even laugh for a long time. Just see, isn't it? The parents, they say, hey, don't laugh. We are scared. You are laughing too much. Please stop, because sometimes you may the heart may stop. You cannot cry also too much. The tears will stop. You cannot eat too much. You cannot mate too much. You cannot do anything. This body is made like that. There is a limit to everything. You cannot do irregulated thing. If you want irregulation, then the body of animal is given. Irregulated means the animal's body, the senses are so powerful. Each animal, a particular sense is very powerful. The pigeon's power of uniting with its partner is so powerful. A koala bear can sleep 22 hours a day. So like that, every sense, there are particular senses that are made very powerful. They can do, but humans, we need regulation. The irony is that the doctors also prescribe the same things. When people go to a doctor and come back, oh, the doctor has prescribed me, I'm like pre-diabetes, I cannot do this, I cannot do that. I have to do this much of exercise and eat only this much at this time. And people don't ask questions to doctor. But when they hear from scriptures, when we talk about the scriptural principles and regulations, that is old fashioned. That is orthodox. You're still living in old days. This is what I hear sometimes from colleagues. You should grow up. What is this going to temples and being ritualistic, ringing bells, doing fasting? Science has evolved. You should grow up. Like that, they say. The same people, they go to doctor, they don't ask for science. Okay, you have to regulate. Of course, it is scientific, but they have to follow it because for their own good. So if you followed the scripture from the beginning, then they don't have to go to doctor. They'll be spiritually well, materially well. So by following the scripture, actually we are following the spiritual doctor by which we remain materially healthy as well as spiritually healthy. I remember when I was in college, 10 plus 2 actually, that was also called college in in India. So there was a program function conducted, and so there was an actor who was called for that big function, a movie actor, a aged person, but well known. So he was quite aged at the time, but known for his health and all that. So he was giving his speech, and he used one phrase I still remember. He said, "Eat less, eat more." And then people couldn't understand. Did I hear what he said correctly? Eat less, eat more. And then he only explained what it means. He said, "My mantra to live healthy is I eat only very less. So, by which I improve my health and I live long, by which I can eat more." That is what he said. So, that is the purpose of material people, to have a healthy life so they can eat well, have a good quality, and all that. But our purpose is to eat regulatedly so that we can serve more. We can keep this body well and healthy so that we can serve Krishna. So eat regulated so that we can remain healthy and serve Krishna. Sleep regulated so we can remain healthy and serve Krishna. Recreation regulated so we can serve Krishna. Our work regulated so we can serve Krishna. Otherwise, it causes distress. If you are fighting dukkha, how can you serve Krishna with peace? So, Prabhupada said in one lecture, I was hearing that lecture, and it beautifully answered one question posed by one colleague. And next time somebody asked that question, I gave that answer. So the question is, so why should I not make use of the senses in sense enjoyment? After all, they have been given to me. The senses means the tongue is used for eating and tasting and drinking. The eyes are used for watching. I can watch anything and everything. Of course, I know my limits. Somebody said to me, "Oh, I drink. There's nothing wrong. Drinking is actually good for health, and I stay in my limit. I don't cross the limit." What is the problem? I've been given this body and senses. I stay. I know what is regulation for my own thing. So what is the problem? The senses are given for enjoyment. So Prabhupada says in that one lecture that yes, the senses are given for your enjoyment. This is meant for animals. What is the difference between you and an animal? You as a human and an animal who is also enjoying the senses. In animal life, the common formula is these four things: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. A dog eats, every day we are watching dogs, especially, the dog is going, the owner is watching the dog eat all kinds of things on the grass, it's so nasty that the dog passes stool and urine in that grass. And the next day he walks in the same grass and he tries to find some eatables to see how nasty it is. But that is eating for the dog. For the body of a dog, it is enjoyment. The man is eating in a good, nice plate, clean dining hall, clean food. But the quality of enjoyment is the same. Similarly, eating, sleeping, mating, defending, all things, the quality that the animal enjoys much more than the human being enjoys. So, if we are doing only these four things to the best of our ability, this is only advanced animal civilization. It is not human civilization. Then, what is human civilization? It is said in Vedanta Sutra. Athato Brahma Jignasa. Now that you have attained the body of a human, Atha, hereafter Ataha, Brahma Jignasa. Now you inquire into Brahman, who you are, who I am, what is the purpose of life. Jignasuhu Shreya Uttamam. That is the start of human life. Otherwise, we have not started human life. So Prabhupada says in the purport very nicely regarding this irregulation. Extravagance in the matter of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, which are the demands of the body, can block advancement in the practice of yoga. So this is the reason why a yogi has to be regulated, because it blocks advancement in our path of yoga. So we have to regulate. So the very interesting point you see if you read the purport, I encourage you to read the purport later. So Prabhupada highlights something very interesting. So sometimes we use this verse to understand that, you know, you need break even when working spiritually. Or we need a break, a recreation from our spiritual work. But Srila Prabhupada does not use this verse in that sense. His explanation is that the regulation is needed only for material things. Material aspects of eating, working, recreation, and sleeping. There is no regulation for Krishna consciousness. Of course, because prasadam aspect I covered, because we are eating in the body, we are not working in this day and age. So we have to watch out for our eating, prasadam also. That much mercy is going in, but that much amount of prasadam is also going in. And if you are not consuming it, so as the devotee was writing in the blog, you have to watch out. But in general, like if you are serving Krishna, if you are chanting for Krishna, glorifying Krishna, there is no need for regulation. It is only as much as your taste, acquired taste. Why only 16 rounds? Because if that prescription is not given, we have not acquired taste for chanting. So at least you chant this much. Otherwise, you can go on chanting. There is no need to tell, oh, now you chanted enough, now you take a break. No, as much as you acquired the taste, you go on chanting. But because we have not acquired the taste, that 16 rounds, That that limit is given for those who want to be initiated. Otherwise, you have to regulate. So that's why if you read the purport, Prabhupada is talking about how a Krishna conscious person automatically, by being in Krishna consciousness, he regulates material things. You don't have to separately follow regulation. Just stay in Krishna consciousness, follow Krishna conscious principles. Automatically, you're following this verse. You don't have to artificially do things. So, Prabhupada writes regarding the regulating nonsense eating. As far as eating is concerned, it can be regulated only when one is practiced to take and accept prasadam, sanctified food. So he becomes automatically trained not to accept food not meant for human consumption or which is not in the category of goodness. And then he talks about how to regulate oversleeping. A Krishna conscious person automatically does that. How? So he writes, as far as sleeping is concerned, a Krishna conscious person is always alert in the discharge of his duties in Krishna consciousness, and therefore any unnecessary time spent sleeping is considered a great loss. A Krishna conscious person cannot bear to pass a minute of his life without being engaged in the service of the Lord. So he gives the examples of Rupa Goswami and Haridas Thakur. And regarding the regulating of our material work or job, he says, as far as work is concerned, a Krishna conscious person does not do anything which is not connected with Krishna's interest. And thus his work is always regulated and is untainted by sense gratification. What this means is, irregulation of work is generated because of our sense gratificatory desires. I want to enjoy like this, therefore, there is irregulation of work. And when one acts only for Krishna's interest, his work automatically becomes regulated from material perspective. He might engage in a lot of work spiritually, but materially his work is regulated. And regarding regulating our material recreation, Prabhupada says, since there is no question of sense gratification, there is no material leisure for a person in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. And as a result, there is no dukkha. Yogo bhavati dukkha. And because he is regulated in all his work, speech, sleep, wakefulness, and all other bodily activities, there is no material misery for him. So, Prabhupada, he was very practical, even though he said the ideal standards, he always talks about the ideal standards in his books, in his purports. He knows that it takes a lot of time for a devotee to reach that level. So he would advise on a practical level how to act practically so we can remain healthy. Like in 1975, one time, it was a very cold winter, and he was in his morning walks, and he was asking the devotees, the leaders, whether the devotees are getting good amount of ghee on their chapatis. So the leader devotee, he replied, "Oh, Prabhupada, only the guests are given because it's very expensive." And Prabhupada disagreed. He said it is necessary that in cold weather the devotees must have a little extra ghee and grains. They should have a mix of chana and urad dals. They are palatable and beneficial. Not too much and not too little also. So we should not have unnecessary vairagya. We don't approve that. Whatever you require for keeping good health, you should take it absolutely what is required, you should be done. But not to overindulge and sense gratify. So this is the instruction of Srila Prabhupada. You do what is needed to keep this body nice and healthy to serve Krishna. When Sanatan Goswami, he developed the disease where these the sores were all over the body. And in that state, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was coming and embracing him, and those things are the pus and all this nasty substance was touching Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body. He didn't feel at all. He was transcendental. But Sanatan Goswami wanted, this disease is not going, and I am living a so horrible life, and I'm giving inconvenience to devotees and particularly to Mahaprabhu. So he wanted to commit suicide. And then obviously Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knows his heart and he chastised him. He said, "You think this body belongs to you? The moment you surrender to Krishna, the moment you surrender to the spiritual master, this body belongs to Krishna and the spiritual master, and they want to use your body. They have to use your body for serving Krishna. You don't have any right to terminate that body. Doesn't matter how the body condition is. Spiritual master can use the body, but you have to keep it, endeavor to keep it healthy. If you become diseased, how can you execute Krishna consciousness?" So Prabhupada wrote one letter like that. You are, he was saying, you have no sufficient warm clothing, so you are affected by the cold. So you must arrange for warm clothes. You must take care of your health. And then he quoted this shloka. Yuktahara viharasya yogo bhavati dukkhaha. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that you should take food just to maintain your health nicely. Similarly, other necessities of the body must be taken care of. If you become diseased, then how can you execute Krishna consciousness? Just like this devotee could not go out today to do service because he was diseased. So we must be careful. We should not eat more or less. Better eat less than eat more. He said, you'll not die by eating less, but you may die by eating more. So I'll stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Sadhu Pranam Prabhuji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, regarding the regulation for humans to invent or to do something new, they need that passion, and then regulation doesn't give that passion, right? It obstructs it. So I understand if you're into spiritual path or in general for health issues or anything, that regulation of sleep and eating, that works. But when you're passionate about something, uh, you need to break those rules to go deeper into what you love. That is the same for spirituality too. I mean, you go deeper when you love something.
Yeah, so I think sometimes we misunderstand passion and enthusiasm. You need enthusiasm, you need to work enthusiastically. Enthusiasm, see, sometimes this enthusiasm is also passion, but it is good passion. When Krishna talks about passionate work, which is that is work with attachment, working for thinking that I am this owner, I will enjoy. I have to produce more. This is the kind of passion. So, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Dhrityutsaha samanvitaha. A person in mode of goodness works with enthusiasm. And that is, in other words, we can also use that word passion in that sense. He works with enthusiasm and passion for Krishna. Oh, I have to do this nicely for Krishna. But that does not mean he compromises regulation. That does not mean he compromises sadhana. He compromises his health. He compromises his proper eating and sleeping. But the moment he gets up, he's enthusiastic. Oh, I have to deliver this. He's eager. So that is passion. That is not discouraged. In fact, that is considered as the best way of working for Krishna enthusiastically. That is required.
Yeah, I'm asking about that enthusiasm, but my words are different. Yeah.
Yeah. That is mode of goodness. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.